And then, Rob, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right. This film had a lot of critic hype. A lot of people were talking about it as being an amazing film. And some decent directors and stuff, people that know their stuff, are talking about it's one of the best films I've seen.
Can I feel a bus coming on it?
Yeah, a lot of hype coming up here. I think people are right when they're saying if you're going to watch one multiverse film this year, watch this one instead of Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
I can see where they're coming from with that. It's packed with so many good ideas and so many good performances.
Rob, what's the give just for anyone who hasn't seen it, doesn't know, what's the sort of rough outline?
Yeah, she needs to.
Michelle Yeoh, isn't there?
Michelle Yeoh, who is this put upon, struggling laundrette owner with a daughter she doesn't have a good relationship with, a husband, the marriage is breaking down, with a dad who's coming to visit. It's all on top of her.
Yeah.
And she needs to basically fight off some evil
they get
multiverse overlord.
Yeah, they get tax audited on top of all of that.
Yeah. So everything's on top of her, and then she finds out she's going to have to somehow. She's the chosen one that needs to save the whole multiverse from this big bad that's coming. And the way she can save the day is by accessing the memories and abilities of other versions of her. So it's this idea that every choice you make, obviously the multiverse for anyone that doesn't know, every choice you make has a ripple effect that creates a different you and a different universe. So there's a universe where, in this case, she never got married and instead became a big movie star.
Rob, is there a universe where we're top of the podcast charts?
There will be. If the multiverse is infinite, then that must exist.
Or can science fiction only imagine so many things?
Nothing too ridiculous.
Nothing too ridiculous. Yeah, come on.
So that idea, I think if you either watch the Doctor Strange or any number of sci-fi shows, you get the gist of this.
Yeah.
It's got the guy Ki Hoi Kwan, who was short round from Temple of Doom, he's all grown up now, playing her husband. He's excellent in it. Michelle Yeoh, we've said before, can do anything.
She's fantastic.
Especially when she has to play all these different versions of her out the film. She's amazing. There's a really clever idea where to be able to access their alternate version, they have to do something really unpredictable and weird, don't they?
Yes.
So like when he just suddenly starts eating a lipstick or something like that, because the reason is your timeline kind of gets stuck then and it's not predicting where your timeline's going, and that gives you the ability to then jump to another timeline. So that idea was all cool. So that when they're in the middle of a fight scene, they're doing these weird things, aren't they? And some of that stuff's kind of out there, stuff going up backsides at one point, isn't there? People sticking things to their arse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's mad, and some of it is a bit kung fu-y. There is stuff there about family drama and stuff like that.
I think it was marketed a bit too much in the action-y thing, actually.
Yeah. So far I've got nothing but praise for what I'm saying. There is a book coming.
I know.
There is a load of good stuff in it that I really, really liked. But I did feel it overstayed its welcome a little bit.
It was a bit long. It was a bit long, wasn't it?
I felt there were scenes where it could have calmed down a little bit, and just I think everything's explained on the move. So even something like Ki Hoi Kwan's character, the husband, who like another version of him pops in his head, takes over his body, and then is explaining things to her. And it's the thing where he's explaining to her really, really quickly and breathlessly with an accent, because English isn't going to be his first language as an actor, I assume, as well. There's loads of mad stuff going on, and you feel like you're sort of trying to keep up. And I felt like it needed, in Back to the Future, where you just have Doc Brown with a board, and he just goes, "Look, Marty, this is what happens. It creates another
1985, yeah."
Or the bit in Looper when they're sitting in the diner and they start explaining it, and then Bruce Willis's character basically just says, "Look, it's complicated. I haven't got time to talk about it now. Just forget it."
Yeah.
Just that thing where you just have a bit more of a quiet moment. I felt that the whole film was very frenzied, and I felt like it just needed to calm down just a little bit. There's so much good stuff in it there.
There's ideas in this. So there's a scene where a character falls down the stairs. I think it's a daughter, and as she falls down the stairs, every time she hits a step, she changes costume, doesn't she? And
Yes, she was the girl that played the daughter was great.
She was
I thought
fantastic.
she was
Wasn't
brilliant.
There? And there was. I really liked this. It was mad. It was crazy. It was just a bit too long because actually wrapped up in all of this, Rob, isn't it? It's a very Wizard of Ozzy, isn't it? Actually, the film is about different generations.
Yes,
getting on
about family and making connections across generations.
Her daughter's recently come out as gay, hasn't she? And Michelle Yeoh doesn't know how to explain this to her pensioner dad, who's very, very traditional. And it's all of that. And she herself says to her daughter, "Oh, you're too skinny," or "You're too fat," and she can't connect with the way that sometimes parents do, where they kind of look like they're criticising, but they care, but they're not actually doing it in a way that connects.
Her character's never made a decision that she really wanted to do, isn't it? That's meant to be the idea of why she's so easy for her to access all these alternates, because she's always made bad decisions.
Yeah,
she's the worst version of her. Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. There's that one fight scene, isn't there, when there's like people turning into confetti and stuff like that, and there's like mad stuff where there's like a romance with Jamie Lee Curtis's tax officer where they've got
sausage
hot dog
fingers.
And there's an explanation to why there's like a 2001 parody that explains why they've got such. It's just rammed with brilliant ideas.
There's a whole
I feel like from an editing point, it's too fast.
There's a whole running story where they're rocks, aren't they?
Yeah, something like that.
In this universe, we're rocks. And she's like, "I'm going to run away," and she's like, "You can't run away. You're a rock, and we're slowly moving over millions of years."
I felt with this. Don't you think this kind of makes Doctor Strange 2 look a bit less good? Because you could just take in a pinch of this kind of creativity. Doctor Strange 2 doesn't spend a lot. It doesn't spend a lot of time in all multiverses, and it's not mad enough to be called Multiverse of Madness. Imagine these kind of ideas thrown into Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange 2 could have been something really special.
Rob, I'm going to be the biggest art house ponce you've ever heard of in your life now. Do you think Multiverse of Madness is perfectly mad and multiversey enough for your average cinema-going watcher? If you like the Fast and the Furious films...
It could be madder. It could have been madder.
Maybe. But this is for, I think this is Everything Everywhere All at Once is for those proper nerds who love art house cinema, who geek out over alternate multiverse realities.
Yeah, I think
there was a fight scene,
fans.
wasn't there? I think you just mentioned it, and you see sort of Michelle Yeoh squaring off for a fight, but it's the weirdest fight you've ever seen in your life, and it's like she goes to the first person and says, "You've always wanted a puppy." So she gets it and gives him a doc, and then the next person says, "Didn't you always want to be a singer?" And so she gets him and makes him into a singer. And actually, instead of fighting these people, she makes them happy and gets past them. You're right; it's full of so many ideas. And her husband fighting with a bum bag or a fanny pack, as it's called abroad, was fabulous. Did you know they actually did want Jackie Chan in this for that role? But apparently they said it would undermine Michelle Yeoh's sort of character and story, because everyone would just be saying it's a Jackie Chan film, so I went with him instead. For me, it was a little long. It was a little long, but I did love it, and I thought about it a lot after.
Yeah.
But it dragged on. It did drag on. I don't know what it dragged on. It was more about the fact you have a conversation about with a daughter. I'm really sorry. I don't know how to connect with you as a younger generation.
The last 20 minutes just dragged its feet.
That's exactly it. They have the same conversation about 4 times. And
I'll get the point, move on.
I get it. Jamie Lee Curtis is just fabulous in a frumped up, dowdy role, isn't it? And
very good.
And again, it's that thing. It's that Terminator thing. What if someone turned up at your door and said, "Actually, the world you know is all different"? Can you believe them? I don't know. It's the Matrix thing. But yeah, it's good.